quarantined songwriters, as well as any songwriters from the future who are perhaps not quarantined right now. I think it's a really interesting time to be thinking about creative process. And so what I want to do today is offer 4 tips around what I'm calling songwriting hygiene. That is 4 healthy practices for your songwriting to help you through the treacherous process of writing a song. So first up, the first tip has to do with that very first moment that you get a song idea. We've all been there. We get an idea and it seems so memorable. We think, I will never forget that melody. I will never forget this chord change. I'm never going to forget that lyric. You will forget it. And then you will be so sad. And then all you'll be able to do is write a sad, sad song about having forgotten your song. So, know that you will forget it and record it. Not just that, I want you to record the heck out of it. I want you to not just scribble down some notes and hope for the best. I want you to document the way your hand actually feels playing that chord shape, the way the melody actually lays out across time, the way you imagine those words being said. Record as much as you possibly can, because there's something else about recording. I think that first song idea is a lot like remembering an image from a dream in the morning. If you inhabit that image, if you begin to narrate or record that image, you realize you actually remember much more of that dream than you knew. Suddenly that whole dream world kind of gets expounded around that one image. Same with the song. If you begin to record and really inhabit that one little snippet of an idea you got, you might realize you actually got much more of a download about your song. You might know the next chord also. You might know the next move of the melody also. Record as much as you can. Next up, my second tip pertains to the very next moment, the second most important moment. Okay, now you've recorded your song idea. It can be very, very tempting to set it aside and assume it will be there for you in 10 minutes, the next day, the next week. It won't be. The way that song presents itself to you right then has the most momentum. It has the most bright faith. It has the most of this sort of magic sense of what the song could be, what the song will be once it's completed. It's like catching a wave. What I want you to do is ride that one wave as far in towards the shore as you possibly can. I want you to right then and there write absolutely as much of this song as you possibly can. The more you get down in that first session, the more easy it will be to re-enter at various other points in the future. Okay, next up, this is a tip about sharing our work. I want you to be very careful about sharing the song in its developing stages. Writing a song is uncomfortable. Songwriting is hard. I think at this point that's basically my motto. And it's super tempting to want to get some feedback, to get some validation right then and there. But what I want you to know is that discomfort, that sort of existential discomfort, you sort of lose yourself even in this creative process. No one else can save you from that. And in choosing to make that moment interpersonal, what can end up happening is that you blow off a lot of the energy that you actually need for your song. A couple other reasons to be cautious. First of all, getting feedback too early can be confusing. Even if it's positive, maybe the person says they like something that you actually were going to get rid of that thing. Now what should you do? It's like you're pleasing two people. If it's negative, it can totally derail you. And lastly, the act of sharing in and of itself can make it harder to enter your song. There's something about playing your verse for someone. It's like it becomes more calcified, it becomes more thingified, it becomes what it is. It seems much less possible to be in process with it after you've shared it. It seems like you can only build around it at that point. And what if it needed to change more in order to balance the rest of what you were going to do? I'm not saying don't share. If you have some trusted ally who you really feel can help you move forward, by all means do it. I just want you to be conscientious about it. Your first responsibility at this point isn't to save yourself from discomfort, it's to protect your little song. Okay, last but not least, at a certain point in time, you are going to get feedback on your song, even if it's just the feedback of playing it live and noticing the looks on people's faces. Maybe it's more in-depth feedback. Maybe you actually have an organized way you get feedback. Maybe you have a panel of 6 giving you feedback. Whether it's just the look on someone's face or whether it's a panel of advisors, you will at some point be subject to a reaction. What do you do then? This is another moment where it's very tempting to step away from the song. Probably you worked hard to get to that moment. Probably you finished up your song for the show, or you finished up your song for that class where you got feedback. So it's like you crossed a certain finish line. But of any other moment of the songwriting process, this is the moment that feels like catching a second wave. You have bright faith in that moment. You have momentum in that moment. Even if it's the momentum of having gotten bad feedback, even if it's that disorientation of having gotten negative feedback, it's still a kind of momentum. And in that case, you must get to work as an act of healing yourself. Only a creative act can really truly heal you from creative disappointment. But even if it's positive feedback, but just do this or just do that, do it right away. It's like there's a portal and it's open right now and it seems like, oh, it'll be open tomorrow too. It won't be. Whenever there's an opening like that, we must go through it. We must work on the song right then and there. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that those 4 tips of songwriting hygiene come in useful. I wish you very, very happy songwriting and take good care.